Countries of the United Kingdom is a term that can be used to describe England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, the four parts of the United Kingdom. Prior to 1922, the entire island of Ireland rather than just Northern Ireland was one of the countries. The alternative term home nations is also used, although today this is mainly in sporting contexts and may still include all of the island of Ireland. The United Kingdom, a sovereign state under international law, is a member of intergovernmental organisations, the European Union and the United Nations. England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales are not themselves listed in the International Organisation for Standardization list of countries. However, the ISO list of the subdivisions of the UK is supplied by British Standards and the Office for National Statistics and so uses country to describe England, Scotland and Wales. Northern Ireland, in contrast, is described as a province in the same lists. The Parliament of the United Kingdom and Government of the United Kingdom deal with all reserved matters for Northern Ireland and Scotland and all non-transferred matters for Wales, but not in general matters that have been devolved to the Northern Ireland Assembly, Scottish Parliament and National Assembly for Wales. Additionally, devolution in Northern Ireland is conditional on cooperation between the Northern Ireland Executive and the Government of Ireland. The Government of the United Kingdom also consults with the Government of Ireland to reach agreement on some non-devolved matters for Northern Ireland. England remains the full responsibility of the Parliament of the United Kingdom, which is centralised in London. England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales each have separate national governing bodies for sports and compete separately in many international sporting competitions, including the Commonwealth Games. Northern Ireland also forms joint all-island sporting bodies with the Republic of Ireland for most sports, including rugby union. The Channel Islands and the Isle of Man are dependencies of the British Crown but not part of the UK or of the European Union. Collectively, the United Kingdom, the Channel Islands and the Isle of Man are referred to in UK law as the British Islands. Similarly, the British Overseas Territories, remnants of the British Empire scattered around the globe, are not constitutionally part of the UK. Formally, the whole of Ireland was a country of the United Kingdom. The Republic of Ireland is the sovereign state formed from the portion of Ireland that seceded from the United Kingdom in 1922. Although part of the geographical British Isles, the Republic of Ireland is not part of the United Kingdom. Key facts, terminology. Various terms have been used to describe England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. Acts of Parliament. The laws in Wales Acts 1535 a Euro 1542 annexed the legal system of Wales to England to create the single entity commonly known for centuries simply as England, but later officially renamed England and Wales. Wales was described as the country, principality, and dominion of Wales. Outside of Wales, England was not given a specific name or term. The laws in Wales Acts have subsequently been repealed. The Acts of Union 1707 refer to both England and Scotland as a part of the United Kingdom. The Acts of Union 1800 use part in the same way to refer to England and Scotland. However, they use the word country to describe Great Britain and Ireland respectively. When describing trade between them, the Government of Ireland Act 1920 described Great Britain, Southern Ireland and Northern Ireland as countries in provisions relating to taxation. The Northern Ireland Act 1998, which repealed the Government of Ireland Act 1920, does not use any term to describe Northern Ireland. Current legal terminology. The Interpretation Act 1978 provides statutory definitions of the terms England, Wales, and the United Kingdom, but neither that Act nor any other current statute defines Scotland or Northern Ireland. Use of the first three terms in other legislation is interpreted following the definitions in the 1978 Act. The definitions in the 1978 Act are listed below. England means, subject to any alteration of boundaries under Part 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the area consisting of the counties established by Section 1 of that Act, Greater London and the Isles of Scilly. This definition applies from April 1, 1974. United Kingdom means Great Britain and Northern Ireland. This definition applies from April 12, 1927. Wales means the combined area of 13 historic counties, including Monmouthshire, reformulated into 8 new counties under Section 20 of the Local Government Act 1972, as originally enacted, but subject to any alteration made under Section 73 of that Act. In 1996 these 8 new counties were redistributed into the current 22 unitary authorities. In the Scotland Act 1998 there is no delineation of Scotland, with the definition in Section 126 simply providing that Scotland includes so much of the internal waters and territorial sea of the United Kingdom as are adjacent to Scotland. The Parliamentary Voting System and Constituencies Act 2011 refers to England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland as parts of the United Kingdom in the following clause: each constituency shall be wholly in one of the 4 parts of the United Kingdom. Regions for purposes of NUTS 1 collection of statistical data in a format that is compatible with similar data that is collected elsewhere in the European Union. The United Kingdom has been divided into 12 regions of approximately equal size. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland are regions in their own right, while England has been divided into 9 regions. The official term rest of the UK is used in Scotland, for example in export statistics and in legislating for student funding. Identity and nationality. According to the British Social Attitudes Survey, there are broadly 2 interpretations of British identity, with ethnic and civic dimensions. The first group, which we term the ethnic dimension, contain the items about birthplace, ancestry, living in Britain, and sharing British customs and traditions. The second, or civic group, contain the items about feeling British, respecting laws and institutions, speaking English, and having British citizenship. Of the 2 perspectives of British identity, the civic definition has become the dominant idea, and in this capacity, Britishness is sometimes considered an institutional or overarching state identity. This has been used to explain why first, second and third generation immigrants are more likely to describe themselves as British, rather than English, Scottish or Welsh, because it is an institutional, inclusive identity, that can be acquired through naturalisation and British nationality law. The vast majority of people in the United Kingdom who are from an ethnic minority feel British. However, this attitude is more common in England than in Scotland or Wales. White English people perceive themselves as English first and as British second, and most people from ethnic minority backgrounds perceived themselves as British, but none identified as English, a label they associated exclusively with white people. Contrariwise, in Scotland and Wales there was a much stronger identification with each country than with Britain. Studies and surveys have reported that the majority of the Scots and Welsh see themselves as both Scottish, Welsh and British, though with some differences in emphasis. The Commission for Racial Equality found that with respect to notions of nationality in Britain, the most basic, objective and uncontroversial conception of the British people is one that includes the English, the Scots and the Welsh. However, English participants tended to think of themselves as indistinguishably English or British, while both Scottish and Welsh participants identified themselves much more readily as Scottish or Welsh than as British. Some people opted to combine both identities as they felt Scottish or Welsh, but held a British passport and were therefore British, whereas others saw themselves as exclusively Scottish or exclusively Welsh and felt quite divorced from the British, whom they saw as the English. Commentators have described this latter phenomenon as nationalism, a rejection of British identity because some Scots and Welsh interpret it as cultural imperialism imposed upon the United Kingdom by English ruling elites, or else a response to a historical misappropriation of equating the word English with British, which has brought about a desire among Scots, Welsh and Irish to learn more about their heritage and distinguish themselves from the broader British identity. The propensity for nationalistic feeling varies greatly across the UK, and can rise and fall over time. The state-funded Northern Ireland Life and Times survey, running since 1998 as part of a joint project between the University of Ulster and Queen's University Belfast, addressed the issue of identity in 2009. It reported that 35% of people identified as British, whilst 32% identified as Irish and 27% identified as Northern Irish. 2% opted to identify themselves as Ulster, whereas 4% stated other. Of the two main religious groups, 63% of Protestants identified as British, as did 6% of Catholics. 66% of Catholics identified as Irish, as did 3% of Protestants. 29% of Protestants and 23% of Catholics identified as Northern Irish. Following devolution and the significant broadening of autonomous governance throughout the UK in the late 1990s, debate has taken place across the United Kingdom on the relative value of full independence. Competitions. England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales each have separate national governing bodies for sports and compete separately in many international sporting competitions. Each country of the United Kingdom has a national football team, and competes as a separate national team at the various disciplines in the Commonwealth Games. At the Olympic Games, the United Kingdom is represented by the Great Britain and Northern Ireland team, although athletes from Northern Ireland can choose to join the Republic of Ireland's Olympic team. Also, in addition to Northern Ireland having its own national governing bodies for some sports such as association football and netball, for others, such as rugby union and cricket, Northern Ireland also participates with the Republic of Ireland in a joint All-Ireland team. England and Wales also field a joint cricket team. The United Kingdom also competes in the Eurovision Song Contest as the United Kingdom, as it does at the Olympic Games. See also: Eitachi, History of the Formation of the United Kingdom, Constituent Country, Scottish Independence, Welsh Independence, English Independence, References, Notes. Bibliography, Gallagher, Michael. The United Kingdom Today. London, Franklin Watts. ISBN A978-0-7496-6488-6. Park, Alison, British Social Attitudes, The 21st Report, Sage, ISBN A978-0-7619-4278-8. Commission for Racial Equality, Citizenship and Belonging, What is Britishness? Commission for Racial Equality, ISBN A1-85442-573-0. Ward, Paul, Britishness since 1870, Routledge, ISBN A978-0-203-49472-1A.